first time, the service commissions are being put in this position, because the principle is that everybody must be accountable. I don't care who you are. Everybody must be accountable. Remember, we said that the judiciary is accountable in the exercise of its judicial function by the appeal process. If you go before the courts and you get a verdict that you don't like, you could appeal to the High Court. If you don't, to the appeal court, if you don't like it, you could appeal to the Privy Council, and we are saying it should be the Caribbean Court of Justice, so that they are accountable and you are guaranteed justice in the judiciary in the exercise of its judicial function. We are saying that the Ministry of Justice must submit an annual report to the Parliament, and we are saying that the administrative aspects of judiciary that come under the court executive administrator will be the subject of a report by the Chief Justice to the President once a year. That goes to the Parliament, and the person who accounts for it is the court executive administrator, keeping the Chief Justice out of that and preserving the independence of the judiciary. It's not complex. It sounds a little complex. I'm getting the impression that you're not there tonight. All right, you're there. So, you account in that way. The service commissions are now going to be accountable, and they must account to a committee of the Parliament. I said minus the Judicial and Legal Service Commission, and that is one area in which I would like to hear the views of the public. How should the Judicial and Legal Services Commission be brought to account without encroaching on the independence of the judiciary? That's an idea I'd like to hear your views on. Think about it. We'll get back to that at some time. May I also say, ladies and gentlemen, that in respect of the service commissions, we are now proposing a new approach. The service commissions were designed to employ people in the Parliament, to employ people in the public service, designed to employ you, designed to discipline you, designed to promote you. That's what they were designed to employ, to recruit, to discipline, and to promote. The service commissions have done an excellent job in recruiting. The service commissions have not done well in the promotion function, because people are now promoted largely on the basis of seniority. It does not take into account the inherent skills of people and who has skills better than others, that system, depending purely on seniority. So somebody knows that you could sit back and relax and so on, and over time you're going to get promoted because that's how the system works. That is very inconsistent with what takes place in private business. And the third one is discipline. Well, in the public service, you can't discipline nobody. That's how the system has worked out. Notwithstanding all that has been put in place, what has emerged is that in the public service, it is difficult to discipline anybody. Those are the facts. And what we are now saying is to get around that. To get around that, we are going to delegate these functions from the Service Commission to the permanent secretaries in the various ministries. There is going to be an HR unit, a human resource unit in each ministry, which will employ people, which will discipline people, which will promote people in accordance with established principles. And the service commissions now become an appellate body. If anybody is aggrieved by anything that happens to them in the public service, you appeal to the service commissions, and the service commissions will look into that and guarantee that you get justice. Already, we have a law in place for the Police Service Commission. The Public Service Commission will be similar. But the Teaching Service Commission is a special kettle of fish. Let me tell you what is proposed. We propose, the working document proposes, and we will have to think about it and think it through, that a new agency should be set up that recruits teachers, that trains teachers, that places teachers in various schools, that promotes teachers, that disciplines teachers, that fires teachers when they need firing. One agency doing all of that. So that you set up this agency and it does all the recruiting. When the Ministry of Education says to this agency, I want a teacher in geography in the Dogo Martin Secondary School, the agency provides it. And if that person is not working well in the job, the principal sends the person back to the agency with a report. This person is not working well. These are the problems that we are having with this person. You deal with that and send me somebody else. So that person is now accountable to an agency, and the agency could fire, it could discipline, it could train, it could do whatever it wishes. It has the responsibility to do certain things as it relates to individual teachers. And if a teacher feels aggrieved by any decision that is taken, that teacher could appeal to the Teaching Service Commission, which now becomes the appellate body. It's a new approach, radically different approach. So that's the way we see it going. In respect of the Senate, my dear friends, in respect of the Senate now comprises 31 people, 16 on the government side, 6 on the opposition side, and 9 independents. We are now proposing a Senate of 37 people, that's what the working document proposes, a Senate of 37 people, 19 on the government side, 7 on the opposition side, and 11 independents. Remember, we have a problem. We asked, how could a president appoint independent senators? By what mechanism could that be done? We've asked you to think about that, and we hope you're thinking about it. We don't have an answer to that yet, but we want to hear your views on that matter. So that in the selection of the 11 independent senators, the president must make these appointments after consultations with groups and organizations in the field of business, labor, the environment, the village council movement, the energy sector, finance, and 2 from Tobago after consultation with the Tobago House of Assembly. So that is 6 and 2 8, so there are 3 others. The president has flexibility to select 3 others as he considers appropriate in the circumstances of the country at one particular time. That is the composition of the Senate. Similarly, therefore, my dear friends, if 4 ministers come from the Senate maximum, if 4, out of the 19 government senators in the Senate, if 4 of them are in the executive, you have 14 of them, because one is the president, 14 of them available to be part of parliamentary committees, making the parliament a proper oversight body for the work of the executive. The parliament now becomes a check and balance on the work of the executive and the exercise of executive authority. My dear friends, the president and his election. Remember, we talked about that too, because that is important. Remember what we said, that experience in the United States is that the system doesn't work as well. It's very frustrating when the president and the Congress are of different political persuasions. Okay? So that we must avoid that. There are those in our society who say that you must allow that to happen. And if that happens, a healthy tension develops between the president and the parliament. Well, our experiences and the experiences in the United States is that that is not so. And the US, my dear friends, appears to work very well to all of us. But a congressman expressed that view to me. And therefore, a word to the wise is sufficient. The one thing you have to avoid is a situation in which the president and the parliament are from different political parties. Because that depends on the maturity of the politicians to work. And our experiences are that when you call for maturity of politicians in this country, the politicians have always tended to fail the people of Trinidad and Tobago. You said you support a Caribbean Court of Justice. The Caribbean countries set up the headquarters in Trinidad and Tobago, and the minute you go into opposition, you no longer support the Caribbean Court of Justice. That can't work. That can't work. That's what we talk about. So we say that to prevent that happening, you must elect the president and the parliament in the same election. 2 elections in one. And if you do it that way, and if you use an electoral system as is used in the United States, where you have electoral votes, 1 for each constituency, the political party that wins the majority of electoral votes has their candidate elected as president. But that candidate must be able to win a seat in the parliament itself. And there you go. So That way you have a situation in the parliament where the president